Hello and welcome to Your Place. I am Dennis McGinn, founder and CEO for vehicle reconditioning and communications company Rapid Recon. 3 times a month at Your Place, we visit guests at their place of business to engage in conversations about the auto industry. Today, we're talking with Denim Simkins, who is the service director for Performance Ford in Bountiful, Utah. Performance Automotive Network is a family-owned business operating for over 40 years. It is a top 50 automotive dealership group in America operates 18 franchises in Ohio and Utah. Denim has 29 years experience in automotive retail. With that, let's get to it. Denim, you're known for pushing technician efficiency consistently at 150%. Well, how can you do that? How does that work?
Specifically speaking of technician efficiency, and specifically speaking in the used car reconditioning area, there has never been a greater time where that's more important right now. Used car turn is at a premium. We can't do it quick enough. Number one, we all know the inventory issues. Number two, we just simply have got to act quick and get those cars ready, merchandised and ready for sale. Fortunately, we've been working with Rapid Recon for a few years here and have been fine-tuning our skills and our process over those last couple of years to where I think we've got it pretty well dialed in. And when you are looking specifically at technician efficiency, of course, the technicians have a lot to do with that, but what you quickly find out when you have a tool to help you track this is that there's a lot of other factors within your dealership or within your organization that naturally provide a roadblock.
I'm wondering if you could kind of lay some of those out, maybe starting with the one most difficult to do without a tool like Rapid Recon.
Sure. So first off, the number one thing that we were able to identify is make sure all departments and department heads and managers we're talking are communicating regularly about what's going on with reconditioning. We found out that communication stream doesn't always naturally happen, and having a tool like Rapid Recon helps us create that communication thread and helps us stay on top of what's going on, real-time data, and getting real-time answers so we can move forward on a vehicle. As we know, and especially as of late, our reconditioning, the type of cars we're reconditioning today is different than it was even a year ago or 6 months ago, and it requires making sure that you're doing the correct and specific things to help you get that car out on the lot, doing the right things that make it show well, and making sure that it is cost effective, most importantly. So number one, Dennis, is to connect all of our departments and really make it visuals to where we know when we have a vehicle that's starting to get a little long in its tenure on our lot, and figure out why and what we got to do to get it out of there.
I'm wondering how things have changed with the lack of inventory, but the buyers are, I think, urgently want to do something. And that's got to be a challenge for you when there's a lot of hurry up. You've got a customer waiting kind of thing, but you've got a deal in the works. And so the question is, how do you juggle when the priorities keep changing?
It's a challenge that every car that comes in here, we generally have somebody on that car. Every vehicle that's coming in, there's a reason why that's hitting our lot. So getting a average day recon down below 3 or in that 3-day mark is critical. Getting a time to line number in that 6 to 7 day mark has been a challenge for us, but we've been able to establish that.
How are your technicians and your advisors doing moving, if they are, from using a desktop to interact with the the software to using their phones. Is that something that's happening? Did you see that?
We primarily everybody's using their phone in the app. It's very handy to be out at a vehicle or be able to communicate from as a technician while you're in your stall with your phone to get the things that you need. One of the things, specifically speaking about using the app, we do what we call a bullpen walk 3 times a week. And we have cars that have been, maybe the used car manager is waiting on, um, trying to decide if he wants to do these repairs. So the used car manager, the general manager, myself, the parts manager, and also the used car our advisor, we go touch that car and we go look at that car. We'll pull it up on the app and we'll say, okay, here's what this one needs, and we'll go touch that car and take a look at it and see what items we do or don't need to do, and get to that price point to where it makes sense to where then we can still sell it. And obviously, being out on the lot doing that, it's very helpful having a tool at your fingertips to be able to do that.
One other question here, and then maybe I can wrap this up. But it seems like in the workflow of things, again, kind of trying to have the turns are so fast now, and you've got customers waiting, that having your parts op and tightly integrated into this, because you don't always have the right parts. If you had always had the right parts, you'd have probably too many parts. So how does that work in your organization? How do all these connected together?
So that's been something that we fine tuned and have really worked on over the last couple of years. And like you say, specifically speaking about parts, one of the steps that we've done or initiated was the minute that we have a vehicle that comes into our inventory or is then ready to be worked on or coming into service, the parts department gets a notification that we have this year, make, and model vehicle coming through, and we're going to need what we call the usual parts, and that's the oil filter, the air filter, the wiper blades for this vehicle. So they'll begin sourcing and getting those parts immediately, and that's even before it hits the shop, Dennis. So the minute the technician gets around to that later that day, or even that moment, parts department's already working on it. The parts department's already getting those parts that could maybe, like you say, create some delay because I don't have it on the shelf. It's a competitive make, and it's not one maybe we've seen very regularly. So I may not have those items on my shelf, but they'll start working on them and get them in our hands, ready for that car the minute it pulls into the shop.
One last question. I always am curious about this is how you manage approvals. So we know every car is different, and you don't really know how much it needs for your particular market till it's up on the rack. How do you handle the approvals beyond just the normal things, the basic things? When the car needs something serious, who approves it, and how is that done?
Well, our used car manager takes care of all of that. I will say that we have a lot of conversations about that, and that's part of the reason why we do that bullpen walk, is to say, does this really need tires, or what are the brakes really like? And we go out and touch them and make sure that that maybe a tire that's at 3 or 4/32, or just halfway worn, maybe it doesn't need to be replaced, and that can save some of that expense. But generally speaking, our used car manager takes a look at that, and then will communicate with us within reason where he would like to be and where he needs to be in order to get this, the vehicle online for sale. And from there, we really look at it as, what is going to be best for our customer on the end use, and what's going to get us a good solid used vehicle out rolling out the door.
The last question I have is, what are your primary metrics that you use to kind of look at where you are from week to week and month to month? I mean, some people call them KPIs, key performance indicators. What are the ones that you and your organization look at on a regular basis to figure out how we doing?
Everyone in my department, and this includes our parts department, our internal service advisor, gets graded on average days recon, ADR. And that is a metric that we look at every single day. And from there, we're looking at the vehicles that are feeding into that or causing that number to creep up. At the end of the day, though, if we can get down an average day recon time down to 3.5 days, we know that we're working through these pretty quickly. And that's even taking on some of these additional challenges that we've got with used car inventory and the type of vehicle that we're purchasing now to try and get our lots full.
Well, thank you. This has been very, very interesting. And Denim, we don't get to talk that often, but you really have an impressive operation there. And I always appreciate the time when we can grab you for a few minutes and kind of get some insight. Uh, it's watching the fundamentals we know is a really big deal. The market's never been like this, may never be like this again. But it seems to me, and I don't know if you concur, but this is a great time to work on your processes when you are not trying to jump at the next, load of cars coming in and that kind of thing where you just don't have any time. So seems like this is the time to refine and improve your processes. So when you do get to that point, your scalability is built in. So any thoughts
Yeah,
about
I
that?
would.
And then,
Yeah, I would agree with you, Dennis. It is this. I mean, we're faced with challenges every day, right? And depending on how we take in that challenge and accept how we can actually come out with a positive outcome, dictates how our success. And we've been challenged over the last 6 months to a year, every single day, and having a positive outlook, having a positive approach towards it really helps us. One thing I've got to mention with our organization, from our ownership team, our senior management, this is something that they look at as well. I mean, we have conversations about how we're doing on our used car reconditioning and our turn a lot, but fortunately, the support from that level has allowed us to do things at the dealership level to really help us improve our processes, help us become more efficient. So without that type of support, we wouldn't have been able to do this. But getting back to some of the challenges that we're faced with, just simply having what can we do? What can we do to make this happen? When that matches up with what we've already been building in the background with our processes, success really happens. And so that type of preparation in advance really allows you to capitalize on what some people might see as a challenge, to us might be an opportunity, and we're able to go after it.
so Denim, thank you. Appreciate your time very much. And we will see you in the next turn around our discussion.
Dennis, thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.